In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the current conditions, diving into that tropical activity, some upcoming flooding, and that Arctic blast that we still expect to take place towards the end of August, beginning of September time frame. Let's take a look at these current conditions, and then we'll get into everything else. We do still have some activity up here in the upper Midwest, thunderstorms and showers for that region, even stretching into Wyoming and Montana here. We're seeing some of that as well. And then down below, we're still seeing some of this activity, showery activity, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico as well, seeing these pockets with some activity. We'll zoom into all of these different regions, but across the south, we're already seeing some of this flooding take place, that we're expecting another round of flooding for all of these regions. Really not what we need to see over the next 10 days, but we are expecting a ton of rainfall to take place, which could lead towards flooding once again, especially with the ground already completely saturated. We just have a freight train of storms heading straight through this region for the most part. We can also see for the Northeast, there is some activity up there. We'll have to zoom in and talk about that in a little bit. Let's just move across the region though. And as you can see, we do have some activity here in Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana here, even stretching north of the border into Canada as well. Definitely something that we need to be watching for. As these thunderstorms are dropping, probably heavy amounts of rainfall, sudden downpours, especially in Montana there it appears. We're having some pretty strong thunderstorm-looking storms. Might just be very heavy showers, but looks like thunderstorms to me. Now, as we move further south, we can see that for Nevada and down through California and Arizona here, we have these lighter showers taking place, all lighter greens, but definitely pretty widespread. And it does look like maybe Las Vegas got hit with a thunderstorm. Oh, just missed out. That's me every time, guys. Every time a thunderstorm's about to hit where I'm at, that happens. But definitely Henderson here, areas on Interstate 515 there, got hit with a nasty thunderstorm, and then it completely dodged Las Vegas completely. Crazy stuff. But just before it approached the Las Vegas area, that was looking like a very potent thunderstorm, actually. Some purples were showing up at certain points, and definitely darker reds, so probably hail associated with that one as well. Very potent storm there for southern Nevada. A couple of those look like they popped up, actually. And some of these southern California ones look like thunderstorms as well, possibly. Now, as we move a little bit further to the north, we're going to take a look at this pocket real quickly. We could see some thunderstorms and showers across this region. Pretty scattered about. It's nothing widespread, except for just north of Minnesota there in Canada. That definitely looks more widespread up there. But we're having some showers and some thunderstorms throughout these regions, so be on the lookout for that. As we move forward towards the eastern United States, we see just the flooding rainfall here. We have the humid tropical thunderstorms moving in from the south. So these areas are bringing more and more moisture into the storm system. There is a bit of a frontal boundary in here as well, a cold front, and all of this is meeting up and just combining into this terrible rainy event. And this seems to be what we're going to have a couple of times here in the upcoming pattern taking place, and that's what's going to lead towards potentially more flooding in the upcoming pattern. Last but not least, we do have some showery activity up here in the Northeast. New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine all seeing some showers. Heavier at certain points here in the yellows, and definitely lighter in some of those more isolated green areas. Definitely going to be a showery morning there. Now, what we're going to do, move on, talk about the model guidance, the temperature pattern, the stormy pattern with the flooding, and then that tropical activity as well. Now, here we are taking a look at the upcoming temperature pattern. As you can see, we do already have below normal temperatures across a lot of the eastern and southern United States there. Positive PNA setup out west. This is no surprise. We've been talking about this for about a week now. As we approach, let's just take it towards Friday here. And as we can see, we have plenty of this cooler air here horseshoeing around these regions. So we're seeing it mostly for these areas. Some warmer air trickling into the north central United States as well. So those areas up there are dealing with those above normal temperatures for the most parts, and those are impacting some of these regions. We do start to get cooler air here out west, actually, and the warmer air for the Northeast by about Sunday. So this upcoming Sunday, that's going to be the 28th. But it's as we approach, this is going to be around Tuesday. So Tuesday the 30th, we see this huge Arctic air mass here set up over Canada. and this huge ridge out west. Very strong positive PNA. And what this is going to do is force that Arctic air that was up here in the Arctic regions to displace and head into the eastern United States, because that warm air is shoving its way up into those Arctic regions. The cold air has to go somewhere, so it funnels into the east. All right, now as we approach the 31st of August, this is the look. We have this Arctic air heading in. We already have some cooler air underneath. This is a recipe for a very, very cold pattern. And definitely by the time we're reaching the 1st of September, look at this. The entire eastern United States is dealing with below normal temperatures for the most part. Out west and even for central Canada there in the Arctic regions, we're dealing with warmer than normal conditions. It's this up here that you're seeing, which is far above normal temperatures, which is really displacing that Arctic air. Again, forcing it to just funnel into the eastern United States. Kind of like oil and water, it moves around each other, not mixing, not combining, nothing like that. It is moving around each other like oil and water. Now by September 2nd here's the look. The greens are going to be far, far below normal temperatures. So all of these regions are dealing with the far below normal temperatures on September 2nd there. And that's the end of our model run. So we're left with this very, very intense Arctic blast that is going to happen at the end of the month into the beginning of September. Again, it's important that I explain my definition of an Arctic blast, and that doesn't mean that it's going to be 20 degrees and snowy in August or September. Obviously, I'm not calling for that. That would be ridiculous. But what I am calling for is Arctic air, the air that is currently over the Arctic, is going to move into the United States, and that's my definition of an Arctic blast. So that's always been my definition of an Arctic blast. That is the most logical explanation of an Arctic blast, and that is what I mean when I call for it. So I hope that makes sense. Obviously, I'm not calling for December weather in August, but it is going to cool down. It is going to feel more like how the Arctic feels this time of year in August and September, or at least very far northern Canada regions, which is going to be pretty temperate, fall-like temperatures. More like October, early November temperatures, potentially in early September. So we're going to be a month ahead with those temperatures. Now let's take a look at the upcoming storminess. Let's talk about it. We're going to just see tons of activity across this region, obviously, and that is where we're calling for potentially more flooding, especially with the flooding that's already happened. This is the next couple days, so we already see just that explosive area of storminess taking place there through the week this week. So that's the next 72 hours. We'll even see up the coast some storminess start to begin by the time we're reaching the weekend time frame. We're going to see our next line of it start already very, very early next week, Sunday into Monday. We're seeing some storminess begin again here for these Gulf states and kind of the South Central states. And they're still seeing it by the time we're reaching midweek, Wednesday, August 31st. Or that's going to be Tuesday. Wait. All right, now I'm just getting confused. So this is going to be Wednesday, August 31st by this point, actually. I was at 0Z, so that gets a little bit confusing. But that would have been later on the evening on probably Tuesday the 30th. That's why I got a little bit confused there. We see this Arctic blast over top right here. We can literally see the jet stream is doing something like this. Very, very cold in here. Potential for mixing to happen with this storm. We've seen models trend at that as well. Pretty far south in Canada for this time of year, especially in the east, to see any sort of snowfall. But that is a possibility. Now, we also see tons of rainfall here at the end of the model run. So not only is this going to happen over the next 10 days, this model is saying, hey, it could keep happening. Because at the very, very last frame of the model run on September 2nd, heading into September 3rd, we're still seeing this precipitation down here. It could continue on after that as well, which is just insane to think about. Now, as far as total precipitation, here we are taking a look at it. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're taking a look at pretty much no precipitation. Your grays will be 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches. So that's our flooding regions there. You can see Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Florida seeing these amounts. And then even browns showing up there for Mississippi, Alabama, and then coastal Texas and coastal Louisiana. Those areas are seeing 5 to 10 inches of precipitation on top of what we've already seen over the past few days in the past week or so. So flooding is certainly going to be a possibility and unfortunately a probability probably of happening because we already have the saturated ground on top of this 5 to 10 inches, or at least 2 to 5 inches of rainfall that is coming. That's going to have nowhere to go. Unfortunately, this situation is getting pretty tricky, and it could even extend further than this, what we're seeing. So we'll have to watch it closely. We will watch it daily, so be sure to subscribe. Be sure to like the video if you did, and leave a comment down below with your thoughts. Here we are taking a look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook. As you can see, we have our 2 disturbances still. One there heading into the southern Caribbean, which is now gone. It originally went from a 20 to a 10% chance. It is now gone from a 10% to a 20% chance again over the next 5 days. Still has a 0% chance over the next 48 hours as it's kind of approaching Jamaica and maybe going to be heading towards the Gulf. The second disturbance here, it has the same probabilities basically. 0% chance over the next 48 hours and then a 20% chance over the next 5 days. This one is heading right into the MDR, or main development region we call it, and that is going to be where most tropical systems start out, and that one's going to have the most potential just because it has so much time and so many different things that can happen. This one is kind of in the southern Caribbean. Not kind of, it really is in the southern Caribbean, and that is usually not a good place for tropical development, but only time will be able to tell. Some do prosper through it. Now, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, and like the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.